Hey everyone, it's Jordie from Seven Eagle Group. Today I have with us Ocie Mathenia, U.S. Army veteran, served 10 years well, I'll let him, he's going to tell you a little bit about his military service. Lives out in Wisconsin right now and works as the VP of sales for a company called iCombat, which is advanced tactical laser tag equipment. Just real high level stuff. They not only have these facilities around the world for kids to play laser tag, but something that I love about what they do is they help train tactical forces, police departments, military. So Ocie, thank you so much for being here today and sharing some advice with our community. We really appreciate that. Can you elaborate a little bit on your bio for people so they can learn a little bit more about you?
Sure. Military brat, first and foremost. Father was retired, 30-year Air Force veteran, Chief Master Sergeant in the Air Force. So I sort of grew up in the service. I grew up overseas, Spain and Germany. Joined the Army when I was 17 years old, and I left the Army when I was 27. I did military intelligence, imagery analyst, and a Spanish linguist, native speaker. I went to Bosnia when it was Bosnia, and Kosovo when it wasn't Bosnia anymore. So the two deployments that I did in my time. And then I did 3 years doing counter-narcotics in Central South America, and a unit called the Nuclear, high and low intensity, out of Florida. And I got out. I got a chance to get it early out when the 1st Armored Division made some changes, flew a brigade back to the States, and we were closing some bases. So I had a plan to get out of the Army. I really didn't have a plan to stay out of the Army long. I wanted a break in service so I could change career fields. And then I ended up working in Spain, really enjoying what I was doing in Spain, selling property. I sold boats. And then I started competitively sailing. So I sort of stayed there, was second to the life. Right after that, funny enough, September 11th happened. I was in Spain. The morning after, I called the recruiter in Germany, and they wouldn't take me back at the time because when you separate, there has to be a time between separation and whatever. And then when I got back in, they wouldn't guarantee that I would go overseas, which means that I could join the Army for 3 years and then end up in Hawaii or something, which is not what I wanted to do. So I stayed out. I started doing a lot of sales. Like I said, I sold boats and I sold real estate. And that was very natural for me. I speak Spanish and English and German, all of which I learned from being a military brat. So when the property market dried up in Spain, I went back to something that was familiar to me, which was security. And I started working with an international firm located in the UK called Octavian Security. We did contracts all over the world, everything from alcohol detection dogs in Dubai to man security all over the UK. And then I started running operations for what we called outside broadcasting, which is the security that you provide for all this TV equipment that travels around and broadcasts events, live events. So I then got married. I met my wife in the Army, by the way. She's also a veteran. And then she didn't want to stay in the UK. So we moved to Spain for a year, where I worked for another security company in Spain. And after a year, we decided to come back to the US. We didn't know where we were going to go, but I wanted to come to Wisconsin so that my wife could spend some time with her family and I could meet them. I started looking for something to do. I ran into something called Predator Games, which drew my attention. Because one of the things I did in the Army was the Predator drone when it first came out. That was an Army asset. We fielded that asset and later went to the Air Force. But it drew my attention. I went in for a meeting. They had a system. When I first saw it on the table, I thought it was a real M4. Looked really cool. Started talking to them about laser tag and whatnot. And then this piece of equipment that they wanted somebody professional to travel around the U.S. and to present to professional organizations as a training tool. So I started flying around. My first year, I did probably 18 or 19 weeks of trips, everything from the diplomatic security service to the FBI, LAPD, NYPD, transit, all sorts of places. Shown them this laser tag gun, which looked and felt and uses CO2 as recoil, not your traditional laser tag. It immediately began to get adopted by a lot of services because you don't need eye or ear protection, because it doesn't have any brass or it doesn't shoot a projectile, so you could use it to stuff on airplanes and hospitals, inside the mayor's chambers in Boston City Hall. So some really cool stuff. I started selling, and then my boss asked if I wanted to start to run the sales department to sell it, not only to professionals, which we now do through a professional organization owned by another veteran, John Master Sergeant, who runs a company called Santa Barbara Tactical, who does all my professional stuff. To set channels overseas and to run sales nationally. I went from a sales manager, then I was promoted 4 years later to the vice president of sales, and now I run sales globally. Globally sounds really cool, and overseas. So we sell different product lines, and we sell not only to professionals, as you said, but we specialize kind of in tactical laser tag, which is not your black light laser tag. It's really cool. We have patented in the best software in the industry, where we run missions, where we keep tabs and scores and achievements, just like on a regular video game.
Well, you got to get one of those out here in Massachusetts. My 10-year-old son would go nuts. He would go nuts for it.
It's insane. And then I also, our president, both at Universal Electronics and here, Rick Denson, offered us an opportunity to buy in. So I bought a part of not the company, the manufacturer, but the company called iCombat Extreme, which in essence is a client of ours. And we open laser tag facilities. So it's been 4 years. We own 3, one in Chicago that just opened, one in Madison, Wisconsin, and one in Waukesha, which is where our corporate offices are, which is 30 minutes from Milwaukee City Center.
That's awesome. That is awesome. What a cool history. What an interesting bio you have there. Going to working in intelligence to doing the sales work, and now working with iCombat. Can you talk a little bit about, we like to counsel veterans on, find a job that you love, that you really enjoy and are passionate about. And I know for you, it must be really cool to be able to work for a company that is training, first responders or whoever to keep citizens safe. And it's sort of in line with who you are as a person and being in the military, and how that must feel to do that every day.
It's absolutely cool. Again, it's a, like they say in the British SAS, he who dares win, right? So it's a bit of luck, but it was also, I guess, the right skill set that they needed at the time. And I mean, I wasn't looking for this job, make that clear. It was just something that as soon as I started to do it, I love that aspect of it. I mean, we do some, like I said, cool stuff, everything from, going to see how 6,000 federal agents train at the Diplomatic Security Service, which is also where the Secret Service does part of their training, and see them using our equipment because they can do force-on-force instead of using SIMs, which is very expensive and dangerous. And so to see how they employ the equipment in ways that we never thought were possible, putting headbands on the inside of limousines, and that's how they detect and react if they're receiving fire in a convoy, for example. Doing some of the best training exercises in the U.S., where we get to see Urban Shield, where we get to see the equipment being used by SWAT teams from around the country. They're competing against each other. Like I said, we've done airports, we've done hospitals, we've done stuff from helicopters to vehicles, and it's really cool because it's usually a really good feeling to see them really actually using this thing that is also used as an entertainment tool, to see them training for stuff that unfortunately occurs all too often here in the U.S. So to see a VA reacting to an active shooter situation or school, or to see and to see your equipment being used. Awesome.
Yeah, how rewarding that must be to know you're really helping people, keeping them safe, getting them. Preparedness is probably everything, right? Just people knowing what to do, just like in the military in an instant.
Yeah.
So not
Definitely,
but that's all.
and it was, I mean, it's the success 100% is due to my service. It's just taught me to be,
Yeah.
flexible. And it also, you see the repercussions where, I mean, there is, I'll do anything. One of the questions actually in my interview was, if you asked you to clean the bathroom, what would you say? And I said, well, where's the mop? Kind of things like that.
Wait, say that again. That broke up. What was the question in the interview?
The question in the interview was, if we asked you to clean the bathroom, what would you say? And I said, where is the mop?
That's great. That's awesome. I love it. That's great. Tell me, what advice would you have for veterans transitioning out who are looking for, like, what do I want to do with my life? What should my civilian job be? What advice would you have for that person?
So a lot of jobs are instantly applicable to something specific, right? I mean, a guy who's an air traffic controller in the Air Force has much clearer career path than some others might have, right? Maybe
Right.
And food service doesn't want to continue to be in food service, or a truck driver doesn't want to drive a truck, or an infantryman doesn't want to, do military contracting, or simply go into law enforcement. I don't know. There's a lot of
Right.
I went where the jobs were and where I felt were comfortable. What I mean by that was a job that sounded good, I went for it. Thankfully, with a well-written resume, which is a must, if you sit down, depending on what you did before, which I did nothing, right? I mean, I joined the Army when I was 17 years old. If you sit down and obviously you can get your MOS descriptions or all that stuff online, but if you sit down and you think about your career and you write out your career, one thing will be amazing is all the stuff that you did, right? Not only what you did, but breaking down into skill levels, right? NCO management skills, NCO schools or leadership schools, they don't exist in the civilian community, right? You don't go to 4 different levels of, primary leadership, and then you don't go to BNOC, basic non-commissioned officer course, or even go to ANOC. So those schools, when you read the curriculum of those schools and you put them into civilian speak on a resume, are super important. And then it'll get you thinking, well, I mean, I've never done private security, but I sure do have a lot of the skills that are needed in security. Or I've never done X job, or even sales. I mean, we have recruiters out there who are they're the best salesmen in the world, right? I mean, that's their job. God knows they're good. So unless you specifically know what you're going for, sit down and write your resume, which you should have several versions, right?
Right.
You have a fluid document. If you're going for a job, you should stress the job that they're looking for and those skills.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid. Break down your military career into what you've done, because you've done
More things will pop up, right? That's good advice. And I like the path you took too. I like the sales path for a lot of veterans. I just think it's a great one, because you have all the training, the military training, I feel just prepares you so well for sales. You have that look, that confidence, that ability to get knocked down and get back up. You travel a lot. I mean, that's got to be it's got to be an interesting field, wouldn't you say, for a lot of people?
I mean, sales is a very general thing. So there's a lot of jobs out there that are in sales.
Right.
Get specifically into a sales role with something that you're very comfortable with, right? Let's say you were a Black Hawk, right? If you were not specifically at that time able to get a job working on as a mechanic on a helicopter or whatever, there are companies that sell to the avionics industry, to the aviation industry, and to whatever. So generalize, because like I said, you know a lot more about what you did. Somebody who's stuck into one job, and sales is oftentimes a good opportunity. And I'm not talking about sitting outside of Walmart selling cable packages. I'm talking about a real career path, which is you specializes in something. Before you know it, you know more about that. You're very comfortable when you talk to other people.
Yep.
How many veterans are out there? We're immediately recognizable one to the other. Yep. Sales is
good path. I love that. That's awesome.
And the ability to be flexible, right? We always said that flexibility was a civilian nicety and a military necessity, right? But if you're doing one job today and another job tomorrow, you're going to be a lot more adept at doing that than a lot of civilians are, right? Which are, well, wait a minute, I didn't sign up to do this part of the job. And you just take it for granted. You're like, all right, I'll do whatever you want.
100%, 100%. That's great. Would it be okay, Ocie, if I put your information, maybe your LinkedIn page on the description of this video in case anyone wants to check out iCombat or reach out to you?
Yeah, sure. And again, not just iCombat, right? That was the job that was available at the time. This turned out to be 7 years of a great, hopefully a lot more. If I had to go out and get a job tomorrow, I would.
Yeah.
If I had to go for an opportunity in Italy, then I'd move to Italy for the opportunity.
Very adaptable. I love that.
So if you want to know anything about working overseas or private security or linguist kind of things or whatever.
Well, I can't thank you enough for taking some time out of your day to provide this information for the community. It's much appreciated. And